Yo, what's up? Welcome back to the weekly message recap. You see, I had to look at that. Weekly message recap.
Yeah, message
podcast
recap, baby.
for Transformation Church.
Message recap is enough. Yeah.
Message. Okay, my bad.
Yeah,
my bad.
It's cool. It's cool.
So yeah, it's my first time ever, guys.
Rookie.
First time. Rookie mistakes. So my name is Rick, and I am your host just for the day. And I am here with Nate Popejoy,
the one and only Nate Popejoy,
student director of Transformation Church.
Yeah,
and always we have the man, the myth, the legend, creative director, John Sapp, who has always heard, not seen.
That's the way it is. Voice for radio.
We love you, John.
Radio.
We love you, John.
Yo, hey, listen. So if you're listening to the podcast or watching us, as you could tell, not Pastor Brad. This is not Pastor Justin. Our fearless leaders are on different business trips this week.
Come on.
So they asked us to kind of lead the podcast today. So full disclaimer, never led a podcast. I've only been on 2 my whole entire life.
Okay. All right. I've been on a couple here back in the day.
Back in the day. So if we're not on a podcast again, then you know why. Because this one bombed. So anyways, but hey, real quick, we want to talk about just yesterday and men really kind of review the message, but also talk about some wins from yesterday. Man, we really had a phenomenal day yesterday.
So good.
At church.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, right off the bat, Nate, tell us some good things that you saw yesterday at the church.
Man, yesterday worship was lit. Like, it went off, and I think everybody could feel it, especially in that 10 o'clock service where Pastor Brad came back up, did that reprise.
Oh, yeah.
It was just, the Holy Spirit was moving. People were joyful. It was just celebration all around, man. It was a good day. Plus, it was a beautiful day outside. I know a lot of people probably went to the beach. A lot of people were just hanging outside at the pool. Like, it was just a beautiful day and a great day to have church. So, yeah.
Yo, we had a record Sunday.
Hey,
what was the count again?
I think total in person was 933.
Like 933.
And
That's awesome.
Online was over 1,000. It was like 1,000 or close to 1,100.
Like 1,100,
Oh my
yeah.
gosh, like insane what God is doing here at our church. And so what you guys don't know privately, I came on staff 7 months ago. I'm entering into my 8th month, and one of my goals was for us to hopefully, with my skill sets and things like that, for our church to be at the 1,000 attendance, on campus by summertime. Like, that was this goal that I had just within my heart. I hadn't told anybody yet, so I'm like, hey, we're getting there. Like, that's just neat to see what God's doing. So, but again, just a great day. I think one of my favorite things about yesterday was, of course, we're in week 4, round 4 of Sushi, Sex, and Subtitles.
Oh yeah, come on.
Round 4, week 4. But yeah,
round 4, week 4. My bad. See that rookie again.
Going into week 5.
Going into
Sunday.
week 5. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay, so look, I'm going to go ahead and stop here before. Okay, Siri, stop. I'm going to go ahead and ask a question. That's a rookie question. And so before I talk about one of my favorite parts about yesterday, I was asked this question by a brand new teenager that they were attending TC for the first time yesterday, and I didn't know how to answer the question. So you guys can help me out, because again, I've only been here for 7 months. Yeah, my first time being a part of this sermon series. And here's what they asked: Pastor Rick, what does the sushi stand for in the sermon title? Like, why is sushi even a part of the series? Because sex, we can understand why. Yeah. But why sushi, and even why subtitles? So can y'all kind of answer that?
Well, I know John can, but I think I know what sushi is. That's dating, right? Dating? Is that going on dates? Nope. Sushi? Nope. Got it wrong. All right. Well, then never mind, John. Let us know. All right, John,
enlighten us.
I think over the years it has grown into several different things. But initially, the reason why we put sushi in there was because, number one, food, right? Food's a big deal for PB. Yeah. Number 2, his favorite food was sushi. So in that process, he was like, yeah, sushi's got to be in this because it's an S and it means something to him.
Gotcha.
Right. Sex, obviously, that's got to deal with the relationship part of the series. Yep. Right. And so we had to add that in there. And then subtitles is everything that's not said between two partners.
Oh,
right. So,
That
so
makes sense.
when people are in a relationship or they're married or whatever, they have those moments where they're not saying anything, but the subtitles, in a sense, would be coming up. They both mean something, but don't necessarily are not communicating that.
Gotcha.
So that's where the communication side of subtitles comes into play. But I remember when he first asked me to put this together, I put together like 7 graphics for him. And the one that popped out I put together 6.
Okay.
And he was like, "It's not there yet. There's something that's missing." And I thought to myself, okay. And so I was like, I wonder how edgy we can make this. After 6 graphics of not being there yet, I was like, can I somehow figure out a way of implementing the sex part of it without it being too over the top?
Right.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I wonder if I put a condom in between some chopsticks, as if that would be like enough.
Genius.
And so I photoshopped them together and made it look like it was a natural thing. And then I presented it to him, and he was like, "This is great." He was like, I was like, so it's not like it's not too edgy. It's not. He's like, well, maybe a couple people might say something, but I'm good with it. I was like, sweet. So
listen, let me tell you how big of a fatty I am. All right, because here's the deal: the first couple of times, I thought that was like little dumplings. Like
really? Oh my gosh!
And then it wasn't until like 2 weeks ago I'm going, I think those are condoms. Those aren't dumplings.
Yeah.
That's funny.
I had to Photoshop out because it was a Durex condom is what it was that I found.
Okay, got it.
And it was the right like angle.
Yeah.
So I had to Photoshop out like the name of it. So we didn't get in trouble.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, I really thought it was a dumpling for the longest time until like 2 weeks ago, and I'm like, I think those are condoms.
Yeah, no, that's genius.
But yeah, it really is great, but I just didn't know how to answer this kid, and I'm like, I don't know. That's a great question.
And you know what? That's a fair question. I think a lot of people have that. But that's also the mystery around, and that's why people like it so much. And that's why it's one of our most popular series, is because it's got such a presence about it.
Yeah.
And
100%.
so, you know, the mystery of like, why does it have sushi? Why is there condoms in this? Why, you know, like the whole thing just makes people want to know more about it.
That's true. That's true. All right, so look, here's my favorite thing about yesterday. All right,
Let's hear it.
Not only did we baptize 7 people, which is great,
Come on.
but like that's top of the list. But yesterday, Pastor Brad had a special guest with him on stage, and that was Miss Ashley.
Yeah.
Like,
I wish we could have gotten her on the podcast. That would have been awesome, but she has to work. So
oh yeah,
That would have been pretty dope.
yeah.
Yo, she killed it.
I'm telling you.
I mean, just absolutely killed it. Like to the point, I didn't get a chance to see my kids much after service. We ate real fast, and then I had a couple appointments afterwards, hospital visits and stuff like that. I picked them up after Bible study at your house, which they don't learn anything. And so, just kidding, Nate.
No, they did.
Like they were really excited about what they learned. But anyways, Anaya gets in the car, and the second thing that she talked about after learning about what a parable was,
Hey, come on.
she was pumped up about that. But she said, "Dad, like." It was so cool to see Miss Ashley on stage.
Yeah.
Dad, she killed it. And just to hear my 14-year-old daughter brag about Miss Ashley and talk
awesome is that?
great about her. And I don't know if she knows this, but I mean, my daughter looks up to Miss Ashley.
Yeah.
Right. And so it was just killer, man, just killer. So
Yeah, I think
your thoughts.
Yeah, I think Ashley really underestimates her influence and her presence when she walks into a room. Like everybody looks up to her, and I think that's so powerful. That like, and PB was saying that she leads some of the largest small groups every season. Like it's insane, but it really isn't insane because it's Ashley, and she has so much influence, and she's just so phenomenal. She's been so great for Leah and I, her and Pastor Brad, and so it was dope to see her up there. And she said she was definitely nervous, but she did absolutely phenomenal. You couldn't tell at all.
Like she was just so gifted. I was trying to joke with her. I'm like, so maybe you should do this like maybe once a season. And she goes, no, we're good.
Oh, yeah.
We're good.
Oh yeah.
And so, but yeah, so huge shout out to Miss Ash. Again, you killed it. You're truly rock star here at our church. And man, we just love you and we just believe in you and your gifts. And so, So real quick, let's recap about the message. I encourage you. We're going to hit a couple of things today, but if you weren't here, we encourage you to go back to our website and watch it, because to see them two on stage, and they really talked about 7 things that they have learned in their marriage to make their marriage work. And it was just absolutely incredible. So we encourage you to go back, www.transformationchurch.com.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you can go to our TC website. Okay. MyTC.life has it on there, or transformationchurch.com/sermons. Or you can find it on the homepage. You can just click the button, or go to our YouTube channel. Because that's where it's mainly hosted. Okay. Transformation Pensacola is the YouTube channel, as it is for all of our socials. So.
Come on. Let's go.
Come on. All right. So a couple of things that really stood out to me about just from yesterday was this. The first one I thought was great. He talked about laughter. In my household, I think my wife laughs more at me than with me, and so I feel like I'm a joke to her sometimes, just because I just say and do things like randomly and stupid. Yeah, you are. What'd you say? What? Get the boxing gloves out. Get them out. So yesterday, last week we talked about communication, and so but the 3 things that stood out to me was affirmation, affection, and then prioritization. Like those 3 things really, really resonated with me on ways that I can do better. But for me, it was this, and maybe you can resonate with this as well. The one thing that I walked away with yesterday was this, that I have to be exactly what my spouse needs me to be.
That's right? Good. Yeah.
And so like for me, I'm not just this naturally affectionate person. Like I'm just not. Like if in my household I have this saying, and so I hope nobody judges me online, but it's like that. Like I don't cuddle. I don't like to hold hands. In my household, if we touching, we doing. You know what I'm saying? Like that's kind of it. You know. It's so.
Well, but just you're between you and your wife is what you're saying.
Between me and my wife.
You gotta clear that up.
That's very clear.
Listen, if DHR comes knocking on my door, I know what happened. It's this podcast. We heard a weekly podcast. No. Yeah. So between Tiffany and I, let me rephrase that. Yeah,
because you said me and my household, and I'm like, probably should very much define that.
Let's rephrase that. Yeah. Let's set some parameters here. But I'm just not an affectionate person, and Tiffany is like one of her love languages is physical touch. I remember when we first got married, even when we were dating, she would put her finger like in my belt loop, and and I would kind of just lead her in different places, and I'm just like, "Yo, girl, get off of me!" Like, come on! Like I was already 300 pounds walking around. I'm like, come on, what are you doing? And so, but I realized that even then, I have to be what my wife needs. Right. Yeah. And in those moments, she needs me to be affectionate. She needs me to hold her hand without this idea of sex. Right. She needs me to cuddle her and just hold her without the idea or even the play to insects. And so it really was just another thing for me I have to be what my wife or my spouse needs me to be. So I don't know what about you, maybe that resonates with you or not.
No, that definitely resonates with me, and which is pretty cool. I was telling Pastor Rick here before we hopped on, is that we're coming from different aspects of marriage to where he's been married for a while, and I just got married a little less than a year ago. So that's pretty cool. And what I kind of resonated with me was when he talked about laughter, and he talked about how he makes Ashley mad, but then he tries to make her laugh. That's me and Leah to a T. Oh my gosh. I'll try and make her laugh, and she's like, "You can't just make me laugh whenever you make me mad or something." And I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't know what to tell you. So laughter is big. And then what I was going through, communication, that's something that they were talking about is, man, communicate. And what we've learned in like leadership pipeline and stuff is especially leading teams and as well in our marriages, is if you think you've communicated it enough, communicate it more.
Right.
So communication even more. And I'm learning that a lot of the things that go uncommunicated, that's where kind of tension can come from. And it's like, man, how much more could we have mitigated if we would have just communicated that well, you know? So that's something that I definitely took from that, is the communication aspect, but also just in the end, out of all that, extending grace. Man, extending grace. And that's something that I'm definitely working on, is really extending grace, because me extending grace, I start to realize how much grace she starts to extend for me. Because if any of y'all know me, man, I can only imagine what it is to be married to me. So, yeah, so just extending grace and just loving her and being who she needs me to be for her. So that's something that definitely, yeah.
You know, when it comes to extending grace, I think for me, the one thing that it was a conviction moment for myself, and I'm gonna try my best not to get emotional.
Yeah.
But it's extending grace for myself in the moments where I do mess up as a husband, or even when I mess up as a father, when the moments when I don't get it right. Because I'm gonna be honest. I mean, I'm not a perfect husband. Yeah. I know, looking at me, it's like, Rick, how can that be? No, I'm just kidding. But no, I'm just not. And when I make mistakes, Tiffany has so much grace for me, but it's good in those secret moments that I don't have grace for myself. Yeah. That I have this inner dialogue of like, Rick, you're a screw up. Rick, I can't believe you thought this, or Rick, I can't believe you said this, or I can't believe for us, you forgot to prioritize your wife. And so now because of this, the enemy comes in and begins to speak these lies, and like, you're a terrible husband, you're a failure as a husband. And then I began to believe those lies. Right. And so, so I'm learning. And yesterday was such a gut punch, when not only should I extend grace to my wife, to my beautiful bride, but I have to extend grace for myself. Yeah. The moments when I don't get it right. That's and the good. Moments when I mess up. Right? Yeah. So that's just if I can make a challenge to anybody listening to our podcast today, that's the one thing I really feel just heavy on my heart to tell you to extend grace to yourself in the moments that you feel like you have messed up, in the moments where you feel like maybe you've made a mistake. And you are hearing the enemy breathe these lies into your mind. Yeah. The word says this: take every thought captive and make it obedient to Christ. So I challenge you. I think it's easy for us to have grace to everybody else, just not ourselves. Yeah. And so if you're a wife listening, or even a husband listening, extend grace to yourself. Don't, because Jesus came in to convict, not to condemn. So don't fall into that trap. Yeah. So, no. Anyways, that's just, didn't plan on saying it. And so we'll just let it go that way. So, but yeah, extend grace to yourself. You know, another part that stood out that I thought maybe for you would kind of extend out was the security part. You know, I mean, I'm like, here's a question. I think even John has it. Can you defend Leah if it came down to it? Like, I mean, you haven't been to the gym in like
that's crazy.
You haven't been to the gym in like 7 months. You know what I mean? Well, like, can you defend your wife?
Oh man, yeah, I would. Yeah. No,
I'm just kidding. By the way,
no. But like, honestly, looking at what Pastor Brad was saying, if honest to God, I promise you, on God, right hand, like I swear, every time we go in a restaurant, I do not let my back go to the door.
Yeah, me too.
I've never even heard that from anybody. I don't know if that was just instincts or what, but I never let my back to the door. And Leah knows that now. Like in the beginning, it started like, oh, hey, like I want to sit there but like now she'll sit on the side that her back in, like I watch the door and I have an open view of everything. So it's kind of cool to hear him say it. It's like, man, like that's what I do. And it's kind of affirmation of like, man, that's dope. So yeah.
No, I'm the same way.
Hey,
look at them guns, baby.
I'm working.
Is that from swinging a golf club? Because that's not from being in the gym. And so look at these guns. You should probably have better abs because you're swinging a golf club. So, but I really am the same way. You know, I sit facing the door, and Tiffany has caught that as well. We've been married. This year will be 18 years. Wow. And so even when she may get to a restaurant before me, she'll actually go and she'll reserve our seats and she'll make sure that I'll sit right there, you know? And so, but yeah, I think for me, that's another big thing is being able to protect my wife. But I think, and maybe this may resonate with you, for me, I have a tendency to be overprotective. And so like I'm learning, I have to learn how to control what I say. And control even my facial expressions. If I hear somebody maybe even get a little testy with my wife. Like I remember there was one time I was a youth pastor in Prattville. And there's this guy, he wasn't all there. All right. He was mentally challenged and stuff. I think, but he was like 6'2", like 6'3", maybe 6'4" ish, whatever. And he did something that didn't sit right with Tiff. I'm in my front office. Tiffany's in the back office. And all I know, I had somebody that one of our admins was coming, running down the hallway. Rick, you need to go there right now. You need to go there right now. Like Tiffany's talking to this guy. And I'm like, okay. So, man, I head in there and I go in. And by the time I get in, Tiffany corrects this dude. Tiffany, if you know my wife, she has no problems correcting people at all whatsoever. She stands her ground. And she says, no, sir, you're not going to do that. This girl is only 14 years old. And then he stands up. He was sitting in a chair, points his finger at her and says, you will watch your effing tone with me, blah, 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 blah.
Oh, my.
Holy cow. That's like the spirit of slap came over me. You know what I'm saying? So I saw red. I get in. I kind of push him away. I'm standing. Tears are rolling from my face. I'm ready to punch this dude. But I'm looking at him in his chest.
Wait. No. Yeah, I was about to say, when you look it up like that.
No, I wasn't even looking up. I was just looking dead in his chest. And I'm like, say one more thing. Say one more thing to my wife, blah, 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 blah. By this time, the senior pastor comes running in, grabs the guy, and it was like, we should probably leave the premises right now. You know what I'm saying? And so, but that was the only day that I ever thought I would need to fight for my wife because this dude was pointing and saying some explicit words to her. So, and I was like, yeah, I will fight you. I will fight for you, girl, one day. So
come on.
So yeah, but it was good, man. Anything else? Any other part of the sermon for either one of you guys that just kind of resonates with y'all?
I mean, I think we talked about some of the stuff with the marriage. So I'll give all 7 really quick, and then I'll go into some of the singles. So the 7 points he said was laughter, communication, affirmation, affection, safety, prioritization, and grace. I know we went over a couple of them, but that's just all 7. And then he kind of went into some things for like singles, which are for marriage people as well, but directed towards singles. It's one of the ones that like kind of hit me that I don't think a lot of singles understand is that the altar is the starting point, not the destination.
Oh, that's good.
So it's so powerful. And I was listening to The Basement with Tim Ross a little bit ago on a podcast, and he talked about when you're getting married at the altar, you're not saying I do to the person. You're saying I do to everything you don't know about them.
Right.
Because you already know things about them. So at that altar, you're saying I do to everything in the future that you don't know, every secret that they have, everything that you don't know.
Yeah.
So I don't think people understand that, is when they're saying I do, you're saying I do to the person. Like, I want to love you forever and all that stuff. Is like, no, you're saying I do for everything that you don't know and what's going to happen in the future, where you're going to go, what you're going to do with that person. And that is so powerful to where it isn't the starting point, or the altar is the starting point, not the destination.
Right.
So I thought that kind of played into that, and I was like, dang, that is the truest thing ever. And I've started to learn that in the past little less than a year. I know it's only been less than a year, but man, we've gone through so much in that year, and it's like it was the starting point.
Yeah.
Holy crap. And it's been great. It's been hard. It's been like the hardest blessing of my life, and it's been so good. And so that's something that I took from that. So all these singles out there listening to this, man, when you say I do at the altar, you're saying I do to everything that you don't know about that person and everything that you don't know what's coming up, and that it's powerful. So yeah.
I think for me, the one thing that I wish I would have heard as a single person trying to find my wife was this part that Pastor Brad said yesterday. The person you are working on is more important than the person you are waiting on.
That's
you know what I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely.
Like so many times we have single people. I mean, they are spending a ton of money, and they're going on every dating website, trying their best to find their boo thing, whatever, the next thing, hey, I want to find my soulmate. And so they're waiting on somebody. But at the same time, if you're waiting for someone, do me a favor, work on yourself.
Come on. That's so good.
If I can make a challenge to any guy listening, hey man, listen, work on you, work on being a leader, work on being a great believer and a great follower of Jesus, because your job is to begin to lead. You know what I'm saying? And so, I mean, again, the person you are working on is more important than the person that you are waiting on. So just a challenge, man, just to work on yourself, allow God to do a work in you.
That's good.
So one of the things as I counsel some of these folks that are dating, right? They're like, man, I just want to kind of be a great leader for this girl, and I want to lead her spiritually, you know, and all this stuff. And I'm like, bro, what addictions are you working on right now? right? Because I even like what he said. This marriage won't minimize your issues; it will maximize your secrets.
That's
so I'm
so
like,
true.
I'm like, so man, what are you working on? Like, what are the things that you need to fix within you so that you can be a better leader spiritually, right?
Yeah.
And I would tell guys this: I would go, hey man, listen, if you're trying to lead her spiritually, then you may need to control some of your actions when you guys are actually in those private moments. Yeah. And I would say it like this: you can't lead her spiritually if you're trying to get into her pants physically. Like, hey man, listen, you're trying to chase this one thing. Yeah. But yeah, you're worried about trying to lead her spiritually. Yo, bro, leading her spiritually starts in the places where you are by yourself. Yeah. So don't. So again, if you want to lead her spiritually, then quit trying to get in her pants physically. Like, but that's an inner thing that you're trying to work on. Like that's you working on yourself to become a better person. So,
absolutely.
So yeah, man, it's killer.
That's so good.
Man, so many good nuggets. I mean, Pastor Brad he's been killing it. Oh, just killing it.
It's been so good. Yeah.
So again, we challenge you. We encourage you to go back. If you missed yesterday, go back. Because again, Pastor Brad and Miss Ash bought a killer word. But guess what? I am pumped up for this Sunday, the last installment for Sushi, Sex, and Subtitles. Yo, we got Pastor Dan.
PD.
Pastor Dan. No way.
Yeah, PD's bringing the heat.
Pastor Dan's wrapping it up for us.
The GOAT. My goodness.
Wow. Stop it.
No.
Pastor Dan. I don't know what's going on right now.
Yeah, I don't want to say it a lot. All right, so,
Pastor Dan, you're the GOAT.
Yeah, Pastor Dan's
greatest
awesome,
of all time.
Yeah, he is. He is.
You know what? A lot of people that have come to TC, I've actually talked about Pastor Dan was the first person that they saw preach, which is funny. There's like 10 people that I can count on my hands of like Pastor Dan was the first person.
Wow.
It was insane.
Oh, wow.
That I heard that many times. I was like, bro, like really? But they all really enjoy Pastor Dan and his flavor, like the way that he brings the word. And, PD has said on countless times whenever we were, doing our little one-on-ones, he's like, I don't want to be the person to speak anymore. I don't want to preach anymore, but he's got such a talent for it.
Bro,
he's done it. He's done it for so long that it's just this like natural thing for him. And he's like, no. I do it wrong. It's not great. I got to practice a lot. And I was like, although that may be true as far as like practicing or whatever, that most people have to do that when they go to speak. He's so gifted. And it's like, the Holy Spirit takes over a lot of times. And I think it was the last time he spoke or the time before that, the Holy Spirit just like broke out and people were coming to the altars and everything. Yeah. So
I get saved every time I hear him preach. So every time. So
I think one of my things about Pastor Dan that sets him apart is that, so here, what I love about TC is that we have so many great communicators. Okay. And everybody has their own thing. When you hear Pastor Brad preach, he is a really great teacher. As so well, good. Like great teacher. When I think about Pastor Dan, preacher, but he is a preacher, but he gives great content and great hermeneutics with it. Like there's a difference. Like I've seen a lot of preachers who are good shouters and all this other stuff, but yet their hermeneutics are terrible. And they're not really good communicators in that. They're just good people being loud. But man, Pastor Dan kills it with not only being a great preacher, but he can also teach as well because his hermeneutics are just phenomenal. So,
I always look at PD and Pastor Brad. PD does the preach teach, and Pastor Brad does the teach preach.
Yeah, I can see that. Like, that makes sense. What I mean? That makes sense.
That's just kind of how they, and they're a little opposite of each other, but they both blend it so well.
Perfect.
That's good.
Well, look, we're gonna wrap up today on the podcast. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for being a part of what we're doing. We hope you liked it. Next week, Pastor Justin and Pastor Brad will be back in the driver's seat. So,
Nate, where can they find us?
Yeah.
You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and transformationchurch.com and YouTube. Sorry, I'm learning.
Rookie.
Transformation Pensacola is literally the name for all of those. So
Transformation Pensacola.
Follow us, like us, subscribe to us, do your thing.
Come on.
Do your thing. Hey guys, man, listen, we love y'all. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see y'all next week.
Peace.
Peace.